Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on STP in the main Reckon products, Reckon One, Reckon Accounts Hosted, and Reckon Accounts Desktop. My name is John Gajewski, and I'm a customer success manager here at Reckon, and I'll guide you through the main points of STP. Just some housekeeping. Firstly, the contents of this webinar is of a general nature and is for guidance only. Reckon does not provide professional or taxation advice, and viewers should consult with a professional advisor for advice on their specific circumstances. To ensure your audio is working, just click on the sound check button to the right of the panel on the right-hand side. Your microphone has been muted for this session. We will be taking questions throughout the webinar and answer them at the end of the presentation. And we'll do so on our specialist site. So just go to www.slido.com and enter the event code STP19. When you start typing your question, if you see the question has been, a similar question has been asked previously, just like it and it'll register your support for that question. And at the end of the session, we will look at the questions in order of their popularity. You can minimize the panel on the right by clicking the orange button. And if you want to expand it at any time, just click that orange button again. This webinar will be recorded and available for review on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Reckon Limited. It'll also appear on our Trading Academy. So just an overview of what we'll be covering today. We'll be looking at signing up for GovConnect STP and setting up your multi-factor authentication. We'll look at the key information to prepare for your company file or book, how to share your Reckon GovConnect STP with other users, where to find your software ID and how to register it to the ATO, and some FAQs and common error messages and how to fix them. And we'll finish off where to find some more STP resources on the Reckon network. So to be ready for STP, you will need to sign up for the Reckon GovConnect STP application. You'll need to ensure that your Reckon accounts hosted and desktop are upgraded to at least 2018 if you haven't already done so. You'll need to register your GovConnect software ID with the ATO, and you'll need to learn how to export files from Reckon accounts software and upload them to the GovConnect STP. So commencing in 1st July this year, STP is for all businesses. Some deferrals have been granted to some business, but please check with the ATO whether any of your businesses do qualify and what conditions apply. How STP is going to work in the Reckon system. Generally, we've created Reckon GovConnect to handle the payroll information from all our payroll products. That includes Reckon One, Reckon Accounts Hosted, and Reckon Accounts Desktop. They'll feed into Reckon GovConnect, which will send the information through to the ATO, and the ATO will communicate back to GovConnect. When you set up your GovConnect, you'll see something like this, the name of your entity, a tile for the product or products you have registered GovConnect for, and a table of previous and current submissions to the ATO. So Reckon GovConnect STP, it's free for everyone. All you need is a Reckon portal account. The portal account being portal.reckon.com. It's our own product and it opens independently, but it links through to the payroll softwares. The Reckon STP process can be broken down to 4 basic steps. Firstly, creating the GovConnect STP account. Secondly, enabling and configuring for STP in your company file or book. Thirdly, complete pay run as usual, and then do the additional steps to export the STP information. And finally, to review and submit that information in GovConnect to the ATO. So let's have a look at setting up the GovConnect STP account and MFAs. As we said, GovConnect STP is free. Just go to portal.reckon.com, log in there, and if you're not a user yet, just click on register for free and create a login. Once you're in the login, you'll need to acquire the Reckon GovConnect application. So just click on Add Product and select Reckon GovConnect. Your first step will be to set up multi-factor authentication. This is a process that's been mandated by the ATO, and multi-factor authentication applies to the user. So for security purposes, you shouldn't share your MFA codes with any other person. Every user of GovConnect should be independently authenticated. You cannot use MFA on both a PC and a smartphone. If you need to delete your app, Authenticator app, don't delete it until you've revoked your MFA. We have a few options to handle multi-factor authentication. It can be either by SMS text, by a Google Authenticator on a smartphone, or by the Google Authenticator extension on the Chrome browser. So let's have a look. SMS is the default way you're offered for setting up multi-factor authentication. So you'll see this multi-factor authentication screen, which will configured for SMS. If you want to bypass that and go straight to a Google Authenticator, just click on the I want to use Google Authenticator instead link at the bottom of the page. But to proceed with a standard SMS, just to enter in your mobile phone number. The send code button here will become active, so click on that and then enter the code sent to your phone into the third step field, and then click verify. When using the Google Authenticator for a smartphone, you'll need to download the Authenticator from the App Store or from Google Play. You'll need to scan this QR code, and that will generate a number which you can then enter into the step 3 field. And just click on verify. If you're using it on desktop, then you'll need to get the Authenticator extension from the Chrome Web Store. The extension will appear as a little symbol in the top right of your browser. It's having that QR code type symbol. And when you log into GovConnect and when prompted, what you'll just need to do is just go in and click on your Authenticator symbol in the top right. Select the QR code on the GovConnect portal, and it'll generate a number which you can then enter into your step 3 field. So you've got 3 ways of handling your MFA. Once your MFA is enabled, the first step it'll ask you to do is a recovery PIN. Set up a recovery PIN. This is in case you lose, break, or cannot use your MFA device and you need to revoke and set it up again on a new device. So please record this number. You can either use the number automatically generated or you can create your own recovery PIN. But please record this number in a safe and easily accessible location. So if you have the need to revoke your MFA, you'll have easy access to the code. Now, generally, multi-factor authentication is needed each time you enter GovConnect, but recently the authentication has been allowed to stay active for 30 days, while you stay on the same browser and on the same PC. So if you're using the same device, same browser all the time, then you won't need to authenticate at every entry into GovConnect. However, if you say clear your cache on your browser, the next time you enter GovConnect, you will need to authenticate. If you go and use another browser or go out and use on another PC, you will need to authenticate that first time. So once you complete that, you'll come back to the portal homepage and you'll see the invitation to create your STP entity. So just click on Get Started. You'll be asked for an ABN number. And if you also have a special branch number, you can click on the branch number link and add that in as well. And then click on Verify. And when you click on Verify, the name of the company will populate in from the ABN register. We do suggest, just to make sure that there's no question about identities, that you do use this exact wording that you see from the ABN register inside your product's company information. The next step, you'll be prompted to ask for which product you're using. You can use all the products or just one, so just make your selection by ticking the relevant boxes. And then the STP entity will open up, a header bar there, and a tile for each of the products you nominated. Notice here at the top, underneath the company name, you will see the software ID key. This is a number that needs to be reported to the ATO. It's a number that's also available under the company and advisor info. So if you click there, you'll also see it in the bottom of the box there. And you can register the software ID with the ATO on 1300 852 232, or you can go to the Access Manager and nominate it there. If you are an advisor, or you will need to enter in your advisor details by clicking the Add Advisor button. But as an end user, you won't be required to. You're not required to do that. After you create your entity can be shared. You can share it with other users in your own office, or for instance, if you're having an advisor or some other third party process the payroll information for you, you can share it to them. So just click on the three dots in the top right of your entity tile, select Share with User, and just enter in their email address, email ID, and click Save, and you'll see them appearing in your list of users for this entity. The person you share it to will not see a tile on their home screen. They'll need to go into Shared with Me, and they'll see a list of shared STP entities there. To remove a user from an STP entity, just click on the three dots again, Share with Users, and in the list below here, just click on the trash can by their name. So that completes that first step of setting up your GovConnect STP. The next step was to configure your product for STP. Just a word to people who came in after the start of the webinar that we are taking questions on our specialist question site, www.slido.com. The event code there is STP19. So let's look at the configuration that's required in the Record Accounts products. Firstly, you'll need to go into your payroll preferences. That'll be on the top menu line, File, Edit Preferences, and select Payroll and Employees, and enable Single Touch Payroll by clicking checking the box there. Once that's enabled, do check your company information, which you'll find again on the top menu line under company and then company information. Here in the legal information, please make sure your legal name is exactly as it appears on the ABN register. Do enter in your legal address as well. This company name field at the top can be your trading name, but for STP purposes, it's best to have the legal name exactly as it is on the ABN. Enter in your ABN number and, if applicable, a branch number, and don't forget to the payroll officer information in case the ATO needs to contact someone. Next, you'll need to go to an employee. So go to the Employee Center, right-click the employee and select Edit Employee, and then the Change tabs to Personal Information, and make sure you have the correct details for this person. Very important to anything dealing with information to the ATO that you are exact and complete. Various information is cross-checked by the ATO, and if it doesn't pass their tests, they may reject your submission. So keep the information correct and exact. In the personal info, address and contacts, the email field, it's not necessary, but if you do put anything in there, it must be an properly formatted email address. So don't use that field for any other information that's not an email address. If there is no email, leave it blank. And then change tabs to employment info. Employment, and the ATO has mandated that there must be a employee number. So if you're not using employee numbers at the moment, please start a sequence starting at, even if you just start at 0001 and then continue on. And finally, something important for people upgrading from a pre-2018 version, that there was a change in the way allowances were reported to the ATO. So please go into your payroll item under lists, payroll item lists, and any allowance items you have, right click them and edit, and ensure that the gross payment, the tax tracking type is now going to be set to one of the allowances specified by the ATO. If it's not one of these, please assign them to allowances other. Those already on 2018 have already made that change. Just have a look at what's required in Reckon 1. Again, the same sort of information. If you go check the legal name and address, so in the settings zone, under administration settings, in the general book settings, you'll have the information under general details and legal address. So again, the company name can be your trading name, but the legal name should be as it appears on your ABN register. Enter in your ABN number and a branch number if one is required there. Again, check your allowances, make sure one of the ATO designated categories is being used. If none of these fit, it all goes into other. So you can get into allowances again through the settings page under the payroll settings and pay details, pay item details. Next, go into the employee section and call up the record of your employee and check the personal details, particularly, again, the email field, either blank or a properly formatted email address. Then head into the employment section and enter in an employee number. So we've now done the first two steps. We've configured our books and files, and so we're now ready to go to the next process. We can now go in and do our pay run done as normal. There is no change to the way pays are being processed. The STP steps are now additional steps after you've completed your pay run. So let's have a look in the Reckon Account suite. Before we continue, for those who came in late, we are taking questions on our specialist sites, www.slido.com, and if you just enter the code STP19 and ask a question there, we'll answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. In Reckon Accounts, after you've processed your payroll in the usual manner, you can come into Employee and then Process Single Touch Payroll option. If you don't see that option here, it's because you haven't switched on the STP feature in the Payroll and Employees preferences. So please address it there. When you click on there, you'll see a table which will list, which will show the latest pay run and the employees contained in there. Just tick them all, and then you can click Lodge to prepare the information, the pay information for STP. You notice at the top of the form there are a couple of other optional boxes. These are the various forms information can be sent to the ATO. The form is configured for a normal pay event, but the other boxes allow for a full file replacement, which you can use for major error correction, an update event, which is when you're recording new information or just changing some minor information for particular employees, and a final pay event when dealing with, say, the last pay for an employee. Just keep in mind, and with terminated employees, they need to be marked as a final pay event. But the programs, both Reckon Accounts and Reckon One, do automatically mark a terminated payment as a final pay event for that employee. It is also included in the normal pay event, so you'll see it in the same. You'll see the terminated employee in the same list as your normal pay employees. So there's no need to run a separate submission. When you get into GovConnect, you can have a look at the employee detail, and you'll see that that particular terminated employee has got a marking for a final in amongst all your other normal pay runs. So there's no additional actions required to take for STP in relation to a terminated employee. The program will take care of that. With Reckon Accounts, the information needs to be saved into an export file. With Hosted, it'll prompt you to save it to a Q drive, and the default name is STP-the date, year, month, day .json. Save that to your Q drive, and you'll get a message that it's been saved. You will now, hosted users, with hosted users, you will need to download that that JSON file from the hosted environment to your local PC. For desktop users, the default location for the file is the standard Reckon Accounts directory tree down to export files. There's now a subfolder for STP files where it'll be saved, but you can save it to any place you like for easy easy retrieval, say like on your desktop or a special folder in your C drive. When's that done, you'll be then invited to launch Reckon GovConnect. In Reckon One, unlike Reckon Accounts, is fully integrates with GovConnect STP. So once you complete your payroll in Reckon One, it is immediately available in GovConnect for upload to the ATO. So after you've done your pay in Reckon One, under payroll, just click on single touch payroll, and you'll see your latest pay there, which you can click on it, and you'll see the a line for each employee that's included in that pay run. The update event, if it's an update event, you'll get that box ticked as well to let you know. Send to GovConnect, the drop down arrow next to Send to GovConnect will give you an opportunity to use some of the other send through methods like full file replacement and an update. But to prepare this information for STP, just click on Send to GovConnect. You'll be told that the saving has been successful, and you'll be invited to launch GovConnect. So just click the green button. So we've completed step 3, and our last step is now just to open GovConnect, view the information if we want to, and submit to the ATO. So generally, when you're coming into GovConnect for the first time, you'll be asked to authenticate. Recently, that's been changed. So if you've authenticated within the last 4 weeks, you should go straight through if you're still using the same browser and on the same device. With Reckon accounts, you won't see the latest information. What you'll need to do is upload your export files. So click on the upload button in the top right. Locate your, you'll be firstly asked what sort of update, what sort of report is it. By default, it's on the new pay run full file replacement. If it's an update event, you'll need to change the indicator to that second option. And then locate where your STP export file was saved on your local PC, select it, and it'll bring it into the into GovConnect. You can just click on details if you like to see the information contained in each of the pay run, and click on the details again to see the information being sent for each individual employee. Once you're ready to go, just click on the submit buttons at any time to send that information through to the ATO. You'll be asked for some digital signing, and when that's complete, you'll get a status flag back from the ATO. The status will be pending. That's because the ATO accepts the file in 2 stages. Firstly, it merely accepts the upload from you and lets you know that it's received that upload. It'll put that file through its own internal checks, and when it's satisfied, it'll send back a submitted tag to let you know that it's been successfully received. That might take a few hours to do, just depending on how busy the site is at the time you're sending, but it should eventually disappear. To check your status at any time, you can just click on the delete the details button here, and that will force a checking of your status with the ATO and bring that back here and update your status. Certainly, if this is sitting on pending for more than a day, you should inquire with the ATO as to what the circumstances are there. With Reckon One, when you open up GovConnect, you'll see your latest pay there immediately waiting in draft status. You can either click on submit straight away to send it off to the ATO, or you can click on details to see the details of the pay run and of the employee if you so wish. Okay, so that completes your processing of your STP for your particular pay run. At the end of the financial year, you are required to finalise your reporting, and we have introduced a new step into the process so you can easily send that check through to the ATO. What you'll now see in Reckon accounts with the tax table update for 2019 is Excuse me, we'll just skip forward and we'll come back to this in a moment. I think, yeah. What you'll see when the screen opens up is a new box here called Finalize Year, replacing the final pay event, and you can select which year you're reporting for. And what you'll see is every employee paid in that year. You can then just tick them all off and click Lodge. It's important to note that it is every employee paid in that financial year. For this financial year, 18-19, many of you may have started reporting STP partway through the year. This Finalize Year option will nevertheless pick up all the employees, whether they have been reported through STP or not. That means casual employees who have not been paid recently, and any employee that's been terminated, particularly before you started reporting STP. They will all be captured by this process. So tick all your employees and just click on Lodge to create the information. You do need to have Reckon Accounts 2019 with the tax table applied to be able to carry out this function. For the other versions, if you say in Reckon Accounts 2018 R2, you don't have a tax table update, what you'll still need to do is a final pay event. So you can only use this final pay event if your last pay had every employee in it that has been paid that year. If not, then you should upgrade to 2019 R2 and use Finalize Year. The alternative would be to give all the employees not appearing on that final pay a 1 cent pay and a 1 cent tax to force them to appear on that last pay and then submit them as a final pay event. Similarly with Reckon Accounts Release 1, in the same situation without the tax table update, you'll follow the same procedures as the 2018. So it's much better if you can get yourself up onto 2019 R2 and utilize the Finalize Year, which will make the whole process very simple. With Reckon 1, what you'll need to do when you go look under the payroll option, you'll see a new item there called Single Touch Payroll End of Financial Year. So click on that and you'll see a new form there which will be blank. So just click on Add and you'll be asked for a financial year. So select the financial year 2018-19 and just then click on Add Single Touch Payroll EOFY Report. And that will prepare the report for GovConnect. So once reviewed, you can then go to Reckon GovConnect and just click here, click on Send to GovConnect STP, and then go to Reckon GovConnect to upload that to the ATO. So that will then complete your STP requirements for the financial year. So that completes the presentation. What I'll now do is just look at some frequently asked questions and then and some common errors we've come across and see what the solutions are to there. And then we'll look at the questions that have been asked during the session. So firstly, A few questions that are quite popular. If I go on holidays, how do I submit STP? Well, firstly, you'll need to share your GovConnect STP with another staff member so they can lodge on your behalf. Or if you prepare the pay runs ahead of time, you can submit the pay events to the ATO at the time you prepared that. Can the STP file be uploaded to the ATO business portal? No, it cannot. STP is a separate portal altogether, and you must submit STP through a compliant cloud-based software. So what's the time frame for submitting an STP report after the pay run? Well, you need to submit that STP report on or before the day the employee expects to receive their pay. So really, in essence, you should do that when you prepare the pay run. It's only a few more clicks after you do the pay run. So it'll only take you a few seconds to do that. Okay, can more than one person be accessing a single GovConnect STP account? Yes, you can, but each user must have its separate Reckon portal login and have their own authentication process. And what if I make a mistake in one employee's pay after I've submitted the STP? Well, at the next pay event, enter the correct amount as a year-to-date figure, and that will be updated. Or you can edit the employee's pay in the Reckon software and create and submit an update event to the ATO using GovConnect. What if I need to change my MFA device, e.g. from SMS to Google Authenticator? Well, firstly, you'll need to revoke your current MFA access on the Reckon portal. And what you'll need to do is when you go into the Reckon portal, just click on the profile icon up here, the little human symbol there. And down at the bottom of the screen, you've got the multi-factor authentication area, and just click on revoke. You will be asked for your recovery PIN, so enter that in and click submit. Okay, there. Some common error messages we've been encountering. You go into GovConnect and you don't see your information in the table below. This is likely, and you'll see a message at the top, fail to save pay run event data. This is most likely due to a JSON STP export file being corrupt, probably because you're using some invalid characters. Common problem here is the usage of double quotation marks. So best to avoid them altogether. So take those quotation marks out and regenerate your STP report. When you submit your file, you might get a lengthy error, something to the instance, payroll event, payroll detail, and then mentioning various fields. This is likely when you're submitting a pay event file to the ATO as a new pay run or a full file replacement. So just go back and regenerate the report and push it forward again. Another one we're getting when you're setting up your STP entity, you sometimes get an error, unable to create subscription with STP. This is likely to happen if the ABN has already been used to register an STP entity in the Reckon system. So either the entity has already been created by another user, or perhaps it's been done in error and that person will have to revoke it. Another source of that error is that your name isn't complete in the Reckon portal. So if you go into the Reckon portal, click your profile icon up here, and in your login and email, and in my details information, go in there and make the necessary adjustments. When using the Google Authenticator, you might find after you enter in your security code, you get the message, please type correct code, and it is the correct code that you've entered. So the problem here is the timing system. that your device's timing system is not in sync with the Google server timing system. So you'll need to reset that. With an Android device, on the authenticator, you'd need to go to its menu, its settings, and select the item time correct for codes. With an Apple device, go into the device's settings, general, and reselect your date and time settings. And that should resync everything with the Google Time Server. Finally, a strange request, something like a pull request. This request ID is valid, but the pull request is yet to be queued. That's essentially saying that the ATO is experiencing extended processing times, so your upload hasn't been attended to in the normal time frame that the system allows. It's a benign message. Your upload is still in queue and will be dealt with. So just check back a couple of hours later and see what the status there is. If you need to edit the information on the address information on the STP entity, well, you do that back in your software. Just go back to your company information screen and enter the correct addresses and phone numbers there, contact details, what's needed. So we do, so they're the main sort of problems that we have encountered. There are many more issues that you can encounter, and a lot of those are already dealt with various resources we have available for you on our website. There is a Single Touch Payroll FAQ on our Single Touch Payroll resources screen, so please go there. You can get there very quickly from just selecting for businesses and other items and select STP there. We also have our Reckon knowledge base, which has quite a number of articles on issues already already experienced. So if you go to kb.reckon.com.au and then search for STP, you'll get a listing of all our articles relating to STP. So just flip through the titles there and select the appropriate one for your need, for your problem. Our other single touch payroll guides you can find in the Reckon Help Center, at help.reckon.com. It's a very good starting point. We do have our Single Touch resources page already mentioned, and if you need further help, you can always find a Reckon partner on the partnersearch.reckon.com site, and one of our accredited partners will be happy to help you out there. Finally, we do have the Training Academy. It's got a wealth of resources there. Not only will there be a copy of this video, but lots of other guides and workbooks and certificate courses that you can help you get on with understanding Single Touch Payroll. So what I'll do now, I'll just have a look at some of the questions that were asked during the session and try to provide answers there. To help me, we've got our community manager, Rav Singh, and also our technical support team leader, Luke Sabara, to help us out. So let's have a look at your questions. Where are we? Here we go. Right, thanks. We've got a few questions there. Is it possible to receive a copy of the slides after the presentation? We do have some printed resources. The best source, of course, is to see the webinar on the YouTube site. But if you do want something printed, please drop a line to training@reckon.com and we'll help you out there. Our next question, I run payroll in advance and authorize in bank account for future dated payment during periods of my annual leave. How do I deal with this with STP? Luke, would you be able to handle that one, please?
So in GovConnect, you're able to submit STP for future dated transactions and obviously for transactions on the same day. So the ATO obviously wants, after you've create your pay runs and you go to submit STP, they would want future dated transactions or ones on the same day. We'll go on to the next question.
The next question is, the email address listed in the company and advisor info is incorrect. How can I update this? All that information is actually controlled from your product, your accounting product, Reckon One or Reckon Accounts. Go to the relevant company information screen or your book settings and change the information there, and in your next upload the information will change in the STP entity. Okay, next question. How do I download from Q Drive to the desktop? I'll pass that on to Luke. Can you help us out on that one?
Okay, so if you want to download something to your local PC, you just need to use the pink toolbox in Hosted, and it'll give you a download button. If you just click that download button, you can then download anything in your Q or B drive. Next question.
Rav, if you can help us out with this one. Reckon Accounts hosted user also needs to register to log into Reckon customer portal. Error message, this username is not registered with Reckon.
So the important thing for Reckon Accounts hosted users when you're logging into the portal is just make sure that you're using your hosted username. So that's not your user ID unless that is also your username. So a user ID will be a series of numbers with a dash. A username is just, it could be like my name, Rav, for example. So just use the username and password that you use for hosted and log into the Reckon portal with the same details. Should be fine. If there are any trouble, let us know. We'll take a look into it.
I suppose you can also create a new user ID on the portal. So you'll have one user ID for hosted and another user ID for the portal. Okay, our next question. I am unsure what will work best in terms of MFA. What is the process to switch from mobile device to PC, for example? Rav.
So we've got a really good help guide on help.reckon.com, which outlines the process of switching MFA sources. But just to quickly run over it, what you need to do is you need to log into the Reckon portal, click on Profile in the top right corner, and if you scroll down to the bottom of your profile page, there's an option there to revoke your MFA. So you need to remove or revoke the current MFA. So for example, if you're using SMS or Google Authenticator as your current MFA source, you need to revoke that first, and then the next time you try to access GovConnect, it will ask you to set up MFA again, and you can do that through a different source. So for example, if you're switching from Google Authenticator to SMS, you can do so at that point.
Thanks, Rav. Next question. Does the employee number have to be a number only? Can text be used? Yes, absolutely. It can be either numeric or alphanumeric. No?
No, can it?
Yeah. No, it can be numeric or alphanumeric. But yes, it has to be unique. That means no employees within your ABN number can have the same employee number. The next question, why can the program be like MYOB? All the payments for employees go straight to the ATO, don't have to go around and logging into portals. Rav, you've got an answer for that one.
So the big thing with GovConnect is that, well, there's a couple of reasons. So GovConnect acts as a gateway for a series of Reckon products. So it's not just one product that GovConnect is dealing with. It's dealing with, I think, 4 or 5 Reckon products, which are both cloud and offline. So it's a really good solution as a sort of like a central point. The other aspect of this is that when you upload an STP Pay event into GovConnect, it provides you the ability to review the data before you actually submit it. So I'm fairly certain that that's not possible in other accounting software, and it's a really big sort of demand, not a demand, it's probably not the right word, but it's something that was really sought after in the design of STP. So that's something that GovConnect allows you to do.
Thank you, Rev. Next question. How do you delete a company tile in Reckon GovConnect? How do you delete a company tile in Reckon? I'm sorry, that was just put in twice. Okay. How do you, Luke, can you help us out on that one?
So you won't be able to delete the tile yourself. That's something you're going to have to request through technical support. However, we can only delete it if there are no ATO submissions. If there are submissions, we're not going to be able to delete it. That's per ATO rules. In another example, if there is ATO submissions, you can request to get it transferred over to another portal, but we will need a statutory declaration in that circumstance.
How do we download from Payroll Premium? Well, we do have a separate webinar session tomorrow on STP and Payroll Premier, so it might be a good idea to join that one. But essentially, Payroll Premier does have have its own STP processes there, which will create an export file, and then you will upload it in the same manner that you upload an export. In the same manner you export and upload a export file created by Reckon Accounts. Next question. We are a registered charity. How do we submit our grossed up fringe benefits amounts? There's no change at all in the way you do payroll, and for many years the process for reporting fringe benefits has always been to include the fringe benefits amounts in a pay dated before the 31st of March of that financial year. That gets included with the pays for that person, and when you do the finalised event, it'll be picked up and reported to the ATO. Okay, just what happens if you have to amend things in employees' records that do not affect pay, such as annual personal leave taken that was not entered prior? The only thing you're reporting in STP is what you reported on payment summaries, and that is the payments you made to them and everything that affects their tax status, tax amounts, and any other events deemed by the government, such as RESC and fringe benefits and the amount of STP you're paying them. So leave taken doesn't need to be reported to the ATO. The only time you'll report anything to do with changes to leave taken is if there's a monetary impact, and then you'll need to do an update event for that employee. Okay, next question. How does STP relate to current manual activity statements in terms of reporting PAYG? I presume by activity statements there you mean the annual report of payment summaries, the MTUP file. You only report your employees once to the ATO, either by STP or by the old method of payment summaries to the employee and an MTUP file to the ATO. In some situations for this year only, you may find that you have a category of people that were not captured by STP. You do have an option in those cases that those not captured by STP you report by an MTUP file. So that you're reporting some employees by STP and some employees by MTUP. The key factor to keep in mind here, you cannot report twice for an employee, so you can't have them reporting STP and an MTube. If you did that, that will double up on all their sums for that financial year. So yes, you can do both, but an employee can only be in one or the other. The simpler method, of course, is always to upgrade to the latest version with the tax table updates in Reckon Accounts, which allows you to do the finalised year, which will capture all employees paid in that year, regardless of whether they're terminated or not and when you started reporting STP. So getting to the latest version and doing that finalised year is certainly the simplest way of reporting all your employees. If I haven't yet updated Reckon hosted version to or started STP, do I use usual MDUPE for PAYG notification for 18-19 payroll year? That flows on from the previous one. Yes. Can I still send all end of financial information for 18-19 by MDUPE and then start STP from 19-20? As on the other two questions, yes, you can. We are changing from hosted to enterprise. Will I need to make any changes in my portal? No. Oh yes, you will. You'll need to. You'll now be reporting instead of from Reckon Accounts hosted from Reckon Accounts desktop. So you'll need to change the product. How do we do that, Rav?
So when you log into the Reckon portal, when you first set up the STP entity, it would have asked you to choose your Reckon product, and you would have obviously chosen Reckon Accounts hosted in this instance. There is a button, I believe the button is called Add Product. I believe that's the term on the button. So just press that and then select Reckon Accounts Business, which Enterprise falls under. It's a desktop product, so it's part of Reckon Accounts Business.
Thanks, Rod. Next question.
Why does the Reckon portal ask for my credit card? I already pay for accounts hosted. Yep. So that the Reckon portal it holds a number of Reckon products. So it holds Reckon One, Reckon Cloud POS, Better Clinics, and a series of others. And GovConnect is one of those products within the portal. So GovConnect, just to make it clear, the GovConnect service is completely free. You don't need to put in your credit card to pay for it. If you are wanting to subscribe to a different Reckon product that's inside the Reckon portal, for example, Reckon One, that's when you input your credit card so that you can pay the subscription for it. But just to reiterate, the Reckon GovConnect service is completely free. It doesn't require a credit card. Okay, the next question is, how do we download the JSON file from Payroll Premier? So there's a full guide on how to run a STP pay event in Payroll Premier and how to download it on help.reckon.com. So we've got I think John mentioned, we've got a Payroll Premier webinar as well tomorrow. Please do register and attend if you can. But just again, it's at help.reckon.com. It's got a full guide on how to download the file.
We've only got time for one or two more questions. I'm just looking just quickly to see. There was one interesting question I saw flash up very quickly. My accountant tells me I don't have to use STP until September. Is that correct? The ATO has made various deferrals available to various groups of people. So yes, please contact your accountant and the ATO to find out whether you qualify for the various deferrals. The ATO has stated that everyone has has to the 30th of September to make their first submission through STP. So if there are any other exemptions for you, yes, please follow their directions. We don't have any more time for further questions. If you would like it, if your question hasn't been answered and you can't find an answer on our resources, please send through an email to training@reckon.com and we'll endeavour to get the answer to you within 24 hours. Thank you very much for your attendance today, and best wishes to everyone in switching to STP reporting. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you knew that one question. I had never thought about that one.
Which one?
You know, if I go from hosted to desktop.
Oh, yeah. Well, you do that, yeah, that's fine. But does that affect your year-to-date reporting in any way?
No, it's all going through the same portal, the same
yeah.
software ID,
Yeah.
and to the same ABN.
Yeah.
ATO is not particularly concerned with it.